Hello there, good evening, welcome back to Celtic World Order podcast. As always, I'm Steve O'Matt, and as you can see on screen with me, all the way from the middle of the North Sea, it is my bearded brother, it is Paddy Boy. Welcome to the channel, you see it there, transfer Dreadline Day, the countdown to disappointment live. Now listen, I know that is absolutely fucking miserable, excuse my French, straight off the bat, but we'll not lie to you, because that's exactly what it is. Now, you might be saying, Steve, what the hell's going on here? Well, normally it's yellow ties, but I thought it'd be better to dust off the funeral suit, because, Paddy, I think I've just witnessed the death of Celtic season tonight.
Well, I'm not going to be on the full doom thing. Yes, it's frustrating. Yes, it's eating up, and our fan base are extremely frustrated, especially when you see the other team across the city spending money like confetti, and we're sitting there. We have the money, but it's just sitting there again. The piles of cash are piling up. I think we're going out, like you say, Steve, with the Brendan Rodgers book's coming out again. Obviously, eventually because he's a free transfer and stuff like that. That's not one that excites me. It's not really one that I want to be seeing thrown at you at the latter stages of a transfer deadline. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. And everybody's saying it. Get your thoughts in right now. We're watching it live. Sky Sports is on the background. Paddy's there. If there's anything that you know that I can't see, because it still is Sky Sports, it's still going to be predominantly telling us about everything we need to know in England. Scotland's an afterthought. Hit us up with that and we'll discuss it. But yes, indeed, it's absolutely brutal, Jay. And I have, on top of the funeral suit, I've also wheeled out the COVID season in the dark days of the 90s, because this very much feels like it right now. Whisper it, Paddy. I am going to be the bringer of doom, the harbinger of doom. You might be the bit of positivity here, but I will never lie to our audience. I am absolutely done, mate. I am done. This club are a joke. From top to bottom, it is an absolute shambles. Let me remind you, as of spending the money on Balikwisha, we're still sitting on £16 million in trading profit alone. You can then add the £7 million that we got from Adam Ida. Yeah. And we've no spent any of it. None. It's going to be loans. It's going to be desperation stuff, if we even get anything, because we're now 22-46. We are literally minutes away from it. Meanwhile, on the other side of the city, and again, I caveat it, whether you think these guys are absolutely garbage or turn out to be worldies, let me just hit you with it here. As it stands, when you add on top of the boy from Everton, they have spent circa €30 million.
Yeah.
A team that are skint and a team that are garbage. Tell me how it works.
I know. Listen, it's frustrating, and I think that has a lot to do with what's happening with our fan base. Our fan base are frustrated because we're letting players go, and we don't have the replacements for them. Seeing the thing there about Adam Ida being told that he can leave without his replacement being in the building, I find that extremely hard to believe. There must be something going on in the background there. Normally, you've got wee guys standing outside Celtic Park, Lennoxtown, everywhere, waiting on these people moving and stuff, but there's been nothing. There's been no links, there's been no rumours. The only rumours I've ever seen are people going out. Obviously, Iheanacho's the one that's come out now. That's the links to Brendan's Leicester team, obviously. He played a few games in there, but he was basically Vardy's number 2, wasn't he? He got a game here and there in the cups and stuff. He wasn't really one that was flying.
It's poor, Paddy.
Yeah.
It's poor. Now, I came on, I jumped on early, thanks for everybody that watched that, and the headlines were quite simple. The big one was Dolsberg. He was the one guy that it seemed that Celtic had pinned all their hopes on. The one guy that we thought was going to make it happen. He had the experience, he had the stats, he had everything that we needed. We'd put in, apparently, a decent offer that had been accepted. But as you'd imagine, once teams like Ajax, who he's familiar with and he's played there, come sniffing about, and we just quite frankly cannot compete. Now, what is even worse with that one is the fact that we were offering the cold hard cash up front right now, giving them the platform, wanting them in the door. Ajax could not match that. But what they could do is offset it with an obligation to buy next season, and he pumps from that. And then where do we go from there? Sekou Mara, I'm on loan, absolute garbage. They then get absolutely listed and the desperation signing just down for three is absolute shot in the dark youngster with zero experience, and guess what? Charlton Athletic are a far more appealing proposition to him than Celtic.
Yeah.
Our reputation is absolute toast in this transfer window, from undercutting low cheap ass bids to directors of football coming out and slagging us off, telling us about how we should do our business, to the manager scrapping, scraping, begging, pleading, to then flipping and flopping, becoming a bored apologist, and to garbage like this, getting turned down by non-entity plankton. Celtic deserve every single bit of abuse, slagging, and mockery that comes their way. And quite frankly, heads should roll at our board level. It probably won't, but somebody has to pay. As I said earlier on, there needs to be a sacrificial lamb, a sacrificial sacking to at least somewhat appease the anger and frustration of our fan base.
I understand that, and I can see a lot of comments there as well saying that Brendan Rodgers should resign. Now, I can see the reasoning behind when people are saying that. He should leave with his head held high. He should be the bigger man and walk out and tell us what's going on behind the scenes, why the board haven't invested and blah, blah, and things like that. But listen, at the end of the day, that's the guy's job. It's his livelihood, right? And I know he makes an excellent wage and things like that, and I'm not going to go down the he's got bills to pay route, because he probably doesn't, let's be honest. But at the end of the day, it's his job. Why should he be the one who walks away? Yes, he hasn't been backed. Yes, he hasn't been given the tools to do his job, essentially. But I just feel like he should stay there and see it out. I think Brendan should hold his head high, because at the end of the day, it's the board who aren't backing him. And we all know that. We all know that the board are the problem here. Now, if Brendan stays, we've got a chance of getting rid of the board. If Brendan walks, the board stay, and they bring in another numpty, another yes man who's going to sit there and go, oh, that's fine, I'll work with that, no problem. We need him in there, because he is now starting to talk out about the board, and he's starting to put his point across. Are you on mute? I can't hear you still.
Sorry. Dogs on moan in the background, probably upset at what they're seeing on the telly. But yeah, Seville have cancelled Iheanacho's contract apparently, so now he finds himself as a 100% bona fide free agent. So there you go. So that one is probably more than likely going to happen, isn't it? How embarrassing is it? We have reverted back to the Brendan Rodgers Rolodex, the wee black book's been dusted off, taken out the drawer and scrambling about. And listen, no disrespect to Brendan Rodgers here, right?
Yeah.
Because it's quite clear, if we sign Iheanacho, as much as it is lamentable, right? And it's a sad, I hate saying this phrase, it's absolutely better than nothing. But the one thing it would tell you is it shows you that at least Brendan Rodgers cared enough to go and try and find something by his own hand, because it will be him. If he comes in, it will be him trying to dig us out a hole, desperate stuff, right? And it might just work, it probably won't. But all I'll say is I've criticised Brendan Rodgers heavily for his tactics. I've blamed him for flipping and flopping. 1 minute he's calling him out, the next minute he's been a bored apologist. But I would give him a shred of credibility if he at least, you could say, well, that was him. But then that brings in the question, Paddy, if it has to get to that stage, that DEFCON situation, what does it say about the people that are supposedly looking after our interest, the people that bleed for the club, the people that work tirelessly behind the scenes, the people that are all pulling in the same direction? It is, I'll say it again, somebody needs sacked in the morning.
Listen, I agree, but I mean, that person isn't Brendan, and I don't think he should walk. I think he should stay where he is. It's these people who sit in the boardroom on the big piles of money. Willie said in the chat there as well, he sent me a screenshot. As we look at that, that is about the termination of Iheanacho's contract. So like you say, Steve, they'll be all over that. Somebody on a free, oh brilliant, aye, bring him in. We'll be scouring the markets down south just now all of the teams will be taking the dregs basically from any Premier League team, any player that isn't going to feature, and we'll be trying to get them on loan. It's as simple as that.
Well,
Don't forget, when the transfer window actually ends, you can still get a loan if the terms have been agreed previous to.
yes, and you can also pick up free agents, but that's not the markets that we should be getting in. The word that we always get told as Paddy is that there is value at this period of the transfer window. Well, I beg to differ, because when you look at some of the big transfers for the actual big players in football, are you trying to tell me that 30 odd million or whatever it is for Isak is value for money? Well, it's not. It's desperation value for money, right? Are you trying to tell me the amount of teams the world over that have spent tens, 20 plus million on top of what they should have for guys because it's right at the end of the window is value for money? No, it's not. It's fucking a joke. There is no value for money at the tail end of this window. You either do business, you either want to do business, or you don't. You either have a plan, you set it out, you get it early, you pay the going rate, or you desperately hope that there'll be people that have got deals falling through, or they're out of favour, or they're free agents, and that's exactly the market that Celtic are shopping in. Don't let it kid you on, Paddy. Celtic are an absolute joke.
No, listen, I agree that the transfer window's been an absolute joke. What Steele's there, he's got the faith, man. 6 minutes to go, Steve. We'll feel it. Come on. Let's get this over the line. I agree with you. We shouldn't be shopping in the bargain basement. We've got the money there. We should be dining M&S, but instead we're down at Home Bargains here.
Paddy, hold that thought. I've actually got something. I've got something coming through here in my earpiece, which is actually quite exciting. Stand by, because as always, we've reached out, we've done the Celtic World Order thing, and I've got a wee bit of information coming out of the boardroom.
There's nothing. I've got nothing. I've got fucking nothing here. We haven't got anything. We've spent all night doing nothing. Gerard, you prick.
I've been working very hard.
Sounds familiar. True to life, isn't it?
Aye, you can see that with Peter Law and Michael Nicholson sitting at that table, can't you? Hey, go Parkhead boys, just seen Mikey Johnson in the Chippy and Springy Road. I'd take him at this minute, mate. Honestly, we slated me Mikey Johnson, but you know what? I'd have him back just to have him there in the team, in that squad. Is Yang away as well, by the way? What's the deal with that? Is that one being pulled?
That's another complete and utter embarrassment, because one thing I will say, Paddy, is I'm completely shocked to my core. Remember the quote, we can't let Adam go unless we've got something at the other end to bring in. He then goes down and he's been unveiled, he's been signed, he's confirmed, he's at Swansea. Now, we've come on here and we've spoke up and down, and quite frankly, at times those toe strips off a big Adam Ida. Yeah. But at this moment in time, by God, I would take Adam Ida. I would rather have him there. It's better the devil you know than the devil you don't, or the devil that you don't have. And that's exactly what Celtic have got right now. It is an absolute shambles. And keep them in turn with the VT, as we like to call it. I've got another topper. Strap yourselves in, by the way, because this is an absolute belter. And this one comes for 2011. Get yourself around this one.
You'll be well aware there's been a lot of criticism of yourself, of the board, generally of the club since the Champions League exit. One of the main criticisms is a lack of investment in the squad. Is that a fair one?
It's not. I mean, I think the first thing I would say is that we're all sharing the pain. You know, it was a very painful night, the real disappointment, and but we have to move on. You know, I think we as the club have got to keep the head and be calm and move on. There has been a lot of criticism. I think most of it is not fair, and it's pretty unreasonable. And I think there's maybe a lack of understanding at the moment around in terms of you know, Scottish football in general and where it is in Celtic as a club. And our commitment as a board has been that every penny that comes into the club will be reinvested back in the club. And I don't think we can be clearer. That is a fact. That is what we will do, and that is our commitment. So I don't think you can commit more than everything, or give more than everything, and that will continue to happen.
Well, Paddy, there you heard it. 2011. Yes. What's that smell that I've got detected there?
Exactly.
Is that a distinct smell of, what is it, Paddy? Is it shite?
it definitely smells shite. Aye, definitely. That's brutal. And like you say, 11 years ago, and we've been on here previously, Steve was sitting here saying, year after year after year after year, we do this. We have to sit through this. We have to endure this, and it's horrible. You're talking about obviously the Serie A Davida there and how you take him back. We could probably buy him back for 10 million, maybe. Do you know what I mean? We could do there and stick a wee offer and get him back for 10. It's horrible. To think that our season has started the way it started. We've been kicked out of Europe by a team from Kazakhstan who had the worst rating in the Champions League. We drew with the baddies in a horrible, horrible game that nobody looked decent at all. Watching the game, it's hard to pick a man in the match when you're watching this because at the minute we just need somebody.
At this moment in time, it's hard to pick a team, let alone a man in the match after the event.
I know, phone numbers wise, listen, I've got a couple of phone numbers on my phone, like ex-players and stuff. I could maybe get on the board to them and see if they want to come back, but I think the youngest one I've got is about 45 or something. That might be something like Cadet or something like that. But
well, Paddy, I think that's us literally seconds away from 11 o'clock. And I don't know about your phone, but let me just check here. Yep, no messages. I've yet to see anything flash up on that telly, and I've yet to see anybody put anything into these comments. Where does that leave us, Paddy? If that is it, and if that is it, that is it. Let's be honest. Where does this leave us right now?
You tell me, mate. It's a dire place to be. It's a sorry state of affairs when you, especially like I said before, and you don't want to kind of dwell on it essentially. But you're saying them across the city have spent 31 million. That's madness. We've took in so much more than what they have, and we've invested, what, 3.5, 4 mil, something like that, something ridiculous. Yep. It's nothing. It's absolute pennies when you think about what we've invested. Going into this Europa League campaign and stuff, it's going to be a struggle. Because
a struggle is going to be absolutely fucking torture. Now, I hate to say it, as I say, honestly, believe it or not, I am taking absolutely no pleasure in this. I know that there's some podcasts out there, there's some people within the Celtic fan media sphere that absolutely live for controversy, they live for misery, because unfortunately misery creates headlines, and headlines and misery generate numbers, clicks and views, right?
Yeah.
Believe me, Celtic World Order, we will always be 100% honest to you. We will always tell you exactly what it is. You might not like the way that we put it across at times, but we're not going to lie to ourselves and we're not going to lie to you, right? I would rather be sitting here with a raft of signings, where it's even if they were absolute dog shit and there was just all youth prospect loans for PL2 and so on, at least we'd have something to talk about. At least we'd have something to think, right, okay, we've got bodies in the door, but the cold hard facts are Kyogo gone, Kuhn gone, Adam Ida gone. We have not added to these players. We have not upgraded on these players. Take that one further back as well. O'Reilly gone, never truly replaced. Starfelt gone, much maligned. By God, I would bite your hand off for Starfelt right now. Greg Taylor hunted, even by us. But I would have Greg Taylor back at this club right now. That is exactly where we are at. And the custodians, the shareholders, the board, whatever you want to call them, every single one of them should be lined up in public and asked to explain themselves one by one and explain this absolute shit show that we find ourselves in. Now, I know there'll be Rangers fans and there'll be people, clip this, watch it, jump in, fair play. It's fair game because we pile on and we slag yous off enough and we have our joy, right? There's a lot to play for in the season. We're 6 points ahead. Of course we are. However, I just feel, Paddy, at this moment in time, Celtic have gambled everything in this transfer window and we have come out of it weaker than we went in. We went into it weaker than last season, weaker than the season before. And we are once again finding ourselves at a juncture where we will be depending on other teams. What does other teams mean? Basically Rangers to fucking collapse. That's what we're hoping for. and maybe a couple other teams to take points off them.
I know. And see, when you were talking about the Celtic board, that's the when you're saying about them lining up outside, and I thought you were going to talk about a public execution or something there, the way you were going on.
Listen, I will say that there's a language and a way to do it, and we'll never do that, right? I want to talk about that. The direct, non-aggressive, above-board action needs to be taken.
Yes.
We'll talk about that. Well, no way, shape or form are we going to endorse any sort of aggressive or outrageous behaviour. There is ways and means to do it, and we are better than that. But it is time after this that the fans, by the means and the methods that we can do appropriately, to make our voice heard. Because today is just another blot on Celtic's copybook. Another 2 fingers up to you, me, and everybody watching and beyond. This board do not care, and I want to know, when is the AGM? I want to know the reasons behind this, and I want to know what their strategy or thinking is behind this. Why are we holding on to money? Why are we not investing? Why are we not backing the manager? There has to be something other than incompetency, because see, if it's just incompetency, then by God, we're in a shit state.
Yeah. Like you say, we've come out of this transfer window in a worse state than we went into it. And I didn't think that was possible. Like I said, after watching the Cairo game and after watching the Glasgow derby, I thought that going into this, that's what we needed, was those results in order for this board to get the finger out the hoop and actually do something about it. And it's insulting. It's just horrible. It just shows what they actually think. They don't care as long as they've got the money coming in. These are so-called Celtic fans, and they've done absolutely hee-haw. There's people in the chats and stuff as well, and saying we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll boycott this, we'll boycott that and stuff and whatever. Seen the thing about the home ticket scheme. Listen,
tell them. See, I don't know. Can you cancel it? Let us know.
You can. Of course you can. If you cancel your home ticket scheme, there's always somebody else there that's going to take it. Celtic is a massive brand, and there's people who can't get tickets to go see games. How many times have you wanted to go see, I don't know, a 4th-round tie against even Hibs or something, and you can't get a ticket for it? Because obviously we've got a massive amount of season tickets already sold. They've already got that money in there. But there is always other people out there who would like to go see these games, and they will go see the games. You're never going to stop the whole fan base. And I've seen somebody as well saying that you can stand outside and police this and tell people that they're not going in. Listen, if somebody's standing there and I'm taking my wee boy to the football, they're not going to stop me. Do you know what I mean? I'll tell you that right now. I just feel like there's other ways of getting to this. And listen, see if it involves going to the AGMs and going along and putting your points across properly and getting to these guys. We need to do something. Because, like you say, Steve, it's an absolute joke to come out of that transfer window in the shit state that we are.
Yep.
It's very, very
Paddy, I've been reaching out to people. I've got some live incoming reactions to this one I'm going to bring up here, and it's good to hear from them.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
There you go, the big Don's got it straight on, honey. There's not many things that I don't agree with what he says, but I certainly agree. They don't know what the fuck they are doing.
Make Celtic great again.
Honestly, I know we're trying to make light of it, because see if we didn't laugh, we'd be bloody greeting, right? Paddy, I'm literally, it's not often I'm lost for words, but I am sitting here completely and utterly void of emotion. Well, you might say, Steve, well, you're very emotional, but I don't know if I'm coming or going. And that's very rare for me. I do not know what is happening here. I want to come back, mate. Let's just forget the shit show, because we've nothing to show for it, right? Let's just tick off the final ones. Tenetke, we spoke about Tenetke. He's still to be announced, but by all accounts, that's a done deal, right? I'm going to bring up his stats again, just because, guess what? There's nothing else to talk about. How sad's that, Paddy? We're revisiting this screen again. But Tenetke, now I've been quite vocal in my thoughts on him. When you look at what he is in terms of a winger and how much we paid for him, undoubtedly over the odds, right? What's interesting is, Paddy, we have given them exactly the amount of money that apparently Go Ahead Eagles wanted for Bream. And no disrespect, I simply do not think that this guy is anywhere near the quality of Bream. I didn't think that Bream was great, right? But by God, he was better than 16 goals and 11 assists in 137 games.
Wow. Yeah.
Am I meant to be excited about this? Get the bunting out.
Yeah. No, I understand that as well. And I was talking to one of the Rangers fans on the league as well when they signed the guy from Everton. And I was like, oh, is he any good? And he said, well, he's had something like, I think it was 5 goals in 2 or 3 seasons or whatever it was. Basically 1 goal contribution every 7 games, I think it worked out as. And they paid 8 million for him. So, listen, sometimes you've got to take positives for things like this. The guy could come in, he could have been playing in a Dross team, coming in at Celtic, it might be the right fit for him. We don't know. Listen, if we've got some people in like that, if we get Iheanacho as well, then it's something. Like I say,
Iheanacho doesn't even puck a cap, right? Let's get real now. I never thought I'd be saying this, right? But I am overjoyed that we've still got Hatate and Maeda. Now, I'm not saying that I can't believe I'm saying that because they're crap. I'm not saying that. What I mean is we thought that they were going. We were contacted, as I say, multiple times by numerous people. Again, we mentioned it in passing. We never named them because maybe they're just trying to be sensationalist. Maybe they're trying to be relevant. Maybe they want to create a rumour, right? But we get contacted several times, people saying he was gone, he was out there. And I thought the way he was playing, the way he looked, he was definitely out. There's no doubt in my mind now that he knows where he's going to be, now that every player in that squad knows that they are going to be here, whether they want to be or not, they need to make the best of what they've got. They want to make that Japan squad. If they want to kick on, even if they want to get sold in January, guess what? They need to knuckle down, they need to put in the effort, and they need to turn it on, right? It's a big short window if you want to leave Celtic right now. So, no doubt in my mind, even if he's signing Iheanacho, Maeda is your number 1 striker, straight through the middle. He gets what he wants, right? Taneki, Balikwisha, that's it. Maeda through the middle. Let's kick on and try to be positive. I'm trying to be positive for your Paddy. That's what we get for it. But Iheanacho does not fill the gaps. We're still short. We still easily needed another winger and probably another right back. We don't have that, mate.
I know. Listen, it's a sorry state of affairs. It really is. Arthur Johnson's out for a good time, and obviously Jota as well. These are guys that would be starters. I think, with the Dice and Maeda thing, if we bring in Iheanacho, then I don't think Dice and Maeda is going to start through the middle. I think you've got to start Dyson on the left because we don't really have many options on there. Balikwisha, is he more suited to the left or the right? I thought he was more suited to the right wing.
Well, what we've done, Paddy, is surprise, surprise, we have bought 2 wingers who are right fitter.
Aye.
And we're going to play one on the left. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. That happens the world over in football with wingers, and they're interchangeable when they switch over.
But well for Palmer, didn't it?
Yeah, did it work for Palmer? I mean, come on.
Exactly.
Wow.
Come on, he was so predictable. And then when you look at the game against Rangers, just there as well, Balikwisha, there's a lot of faults in his game. He was scared to take on the right back. He was scared to take on a defender anyway. And every time he got the ball, he wanted to cut inside. He wanted to kind of come back and just kind of pass it across. There wasn't much directness from him. And that's just, for me, a no-go. I want to have somebody that's going to burst for that byline like Dyson does, and somebody that's going to cause a lot of problems. So if Balikwisha's more suited to the right, then I would have him across there. Obviously, we seem to have kept Yang now as well, so he's another option to have in there, as is James Forrest. But
Paddy, can I chuck this in? Just to bring back more of the absolute misery that happened throughout the course of that window. Of course, Yang was meant to be going, right? And then we find we've got this story here, right? Burnley winger Manuel Benson was supposed to be going to Celtic, right? However, as it says there, agreed a deal, was going to travel to Glasgow. However, after Birmingham City's deal for Yang fell through, they pulled the plug on his move. Wasn't going to happen, right? And that's it.
Yeah.
So, because Yang's coming back, we don't try to get somebody else in. Try to make that make sense to me, Paddy.
It's hard, isn't it? It's I don't know, Steve. You can't really get a lid on the business and how it's all kind of working. Players have been doing the hokey cokey. One minute players in, next minute he's out, and then all that stuff earlier on with Kasper Dolberg as well. I thought that was pretty much over the line. I thought all we had to do was just pay the fee and he was in. But I think obviously we've left it to this late stage, and it's just you end up obviously either paying through the nose or not getting the deals done, and it seems to be that we haven't got the deals done.
Mm-hmm. See, in terms of this, has anybody got any? This is Simas, the boy, the young guy from Brighton. Now, there was conflicting stories that he was going to be coming up to his Paddy on loan. There was also chat that it was completely fabricated and that it was garbage. Now, if any of you guys in the chat, as I say, I've got nothing coming up here. I've nothing in the chat. If anybody has any actual insight on this guy,
I think your speaker's gone, Steve. It's a bit thing with me.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, better now, that's it.
Right, so this was Stefanos Simas, right? 19-year-old Greek centre forward at Brighton. He's played one game for Brighton. The stats read as follows: 77 career appearances at all levels. Bear in mind a lot of that is going to be sort of slightly lower quality, Bundesliga 2 and the likes, for example, but still 31 goals to his name, right? There was a period where he was in Bundesliga 2 and he was playing for Nuremberg, right? So not a great standard, but slightly better than Osman, for example, right? What's your thoughts on that? I mean, mate, we're going to have the edge of a cliff here. And I'll say it, and I hate saying it. See if he is going to be coming on loan, and Iheanacho's going to be coming in, as crap as that sounds. Mate, I'll take absolutely anything. See, at this moment in time, and I hate this because it's not who I am and it's not who we should be as a football club. But by God, see whatever's in the bargain basement, whoopsie, reduced to clear, free agent, whatever. Pick the best that's in there and just make done with it, and see if we can somehow crawl through broken glass and bloody well red hot coals through this season on our belly to something that resembles success.
Yeah, listen, it's going to be a tough one. Like you said, we've come out of this with nothing, and we're going to be scrolling about the free agents markets trying to pull in players basically off the street. Basically guys that haven't got a club. It's just horrible, mate. It's a shit state to be in. There's a lot of talk there, obviously, about other guys as well. Apparently the young boy Simas, I was going to say Simicast, he was Liverpool left back, wasn't he? Simas being spotted at Glasgow Airport and stuff. If that's the case, then fair enough. But listen, as amateur Celtic football, you've got to bang on, mate. It really is. It's just, it's a shitstorm, mate. It's brutal. It really is. I don't know, where do we go for here? What do we do? So, I mean, there's another transfer window coming up in January. Do we just save the money for that?
Yeah, I mean, save the money for it. Well, we'll just save the money. Forget saving the money to spend it. We'll just save the money. Paddy, I want to come back to something, right? Now, I hate this rumour mill. I hate all this garbage, right? I hate everything. It was Robert. Robert's on the YouTube. It was pish. Yes, it was. Underwhelming doesn't... I wish there was a better word than underwhelming, a better word than disappointing, sickening. I want something that really tells you. Give me the word. What is it? If you know it, put it in there. How would you describe it? One word. Give us one word to describe Celtic's transfer window in there, and we'll get it up on the screen. I want your opinions in. We'll get as much of this coming in as we possibly can. But Paddy, I want one word.
Nothing.
I want to come back to all this sort of how we apparently do business, right? We've learned a lot, haven't we? We've learned a lot. We heard about the Siegrist thing, deals were done, and the word was Celtic just simply didn't pick up the phone, right? We've then seen Preston North End. By the way, on that, Welsh goes to Motherwell on loan. Yeah, okay, fine, right? He's never going to get bought. It's just a stopgap. But my point is we should have had him sell to Preston North End for cold, hard cash. I'm bringing up some of these words as I say, right? Cold, hard cash. We didn't. Why? Because we hold on. We don't answer the phone, and he doesn't go. We then have the same. You bring them up whilst I'm talking, Paddy. Absolutely. Keep it clean, though. But I don't know if you heard this, and I hate saying this because it's probably a lot of fucking shite, again, excuse the French, but did you hear the voice message that apparently it was somebody that's in contact with Yang's UK-based representative, and it claims that everything was agreed, contract was signed, yada, 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 he was down waiting on it to do, and they couldn't get hold of Michael Nicholson. And allegedly, I say allegedly because it could just be made up garbage, who knows, right? But allegedly, every time people tried to get in touch with Michael Nicholson, it was somebody else picking up the phone saying, he's not available right now, he's too busy taking care of deals, right? Now, I know that sounds like fanciful, maybe made up absolute garbage, but at the same time, based on what we've learned, it's 100% believable, is it not?
Aye, that is, and that's the sad thing about it. It's something that we expected, I think, but we still had the hope. Do you know what I mean? We went into this thinking, right, surely they know what we need. Surely they understand that we need to get this done. We need to get something over the line here. It's just the words sum it up, mate. Honestly, it's like, who's the Tunisian boy?
That is the great saviour, Sebastian Tunetki, coming to save us.
Right winger.
16 career goals and 11 assists. Yes, go on Celtic. Say no to the other.
Do you know what's happened here, Steve? All right, the board have played at this and they've basically gave us absolutely nothing, all the way right up until the last minute, and then they give you shite, and you go, "Oh, look what we've got, boys! It's brilliant." Yes, Ian Actual, we've got a Tunisian laddie.
Paddy, just sitting here thinking, what a window.
Aye, do you know what I mean? Sitting going, yes, that's us, that's free in, boys, that's brilliant. That's good. Do you know what I mean? And it's horrible. Listen, we're no mugs. We can see what's happening here. Do you know what I mean? It's like the whole Billy Connolly thing when he's talking about the Manchester going for the Olympics and the Romanian gymnasts. I mean, like, no feeding them for 3 days and then throwing them a handful of muesli. I feel like the Romanian gymnasts. Do you know what I mean? We're getting through that wee handful of muesli here. We're getting this wee bit. Right, oh, there you go, boys. There's a couple of big players in. Mm-hmm. They're not big players. They're people that you've got either on loan or for basically dregs. They're people who don't fit anywhere else, and they're pulling them in here to try and stopgap this season. Because let's face it, we don't look sharp at all. The games that we've won, we've just won. Fair enough, we beat Livy 3-0 or whatever it was, but listen, we didn't look good in it. The Kyra games were an absolute joke. The game against them over at their place was an absolute joke. It's just, it's dire, mate, and we need to get the finger out. And I agree with what you said at the start. There needs to be a sacrificial lamb here. There needs to be somebody
see, previously it was Pedro Law's boy that took the fall. Now this is the question: who's really going to take the fall? I will say it once, I'll say it twice, and I'll continue to say it to the day that it actually might happen. Michael Nicholson is the man who should be put on the block. He's the man that needs to lose his job minimum. Now, top to bottom, they're rancid, right? There's a deep set infection, a cancer, if you will, inside our club, inside our board that has been festering for years and years and years. And it's now at a stage where it is incurable, right? But you can still cut out bits of this and prolong Celtic's life to be successful, right? And it needs to start somewhere. A guy who was put in, launched from being the club's lawyer to being the CEO with no CV, no track record, no background, no football experience of doing deals. He was the lawyer. He was the guy that oversaw everything was above board. He wasn't involved in the trenches, negotiating, signing, knowing about players' market value. He didn't need to know any of that. But now he finds himself in charge. As I say, it's been like the floor supervisor in Lidl, and one day getting taken aside saying, by the way, see tomorrow you start the big job, you're head of Lidl UK. It doesn't happen. It simply doesn't happen. It's cronyism. It's nepotism. It's a joke.
when we
And as
done
I said, sorry, I'm soapbox time. And as I says, mate, in any other business, because Celtic are a business, we're a football club, but we are a business, right? If your decisions or part of your decisions that you oversee cost your company, or in this case, your football club, minimum £30 million of income via the Champions League entry, you will be sacked. If you work at Apple for whatever it is, crying out loud, and you negotiate a piss poor distribution deal and it costs you 30 million overnight, you're in the bin. So why do we tolerate it at Celtic?
we're programmed to, and it's something that we've just been programmed to accept. When we done the podcast about the board as well, and you highlighted that there about Nicholson obviously being a lawyer and being bumped straight up to the managing director, basically, and the top man, and we kind of joked and said it was an in-house promotion, wasn't it? They stuck it up in the canteen wall, and it was between him and the dinner lady, so he managed to get it. And listen, mate, it's a tough one. It's a tough one to take, but somebody needs to take ownership. Somebody for that board actually needs to come out and say, listen, this is why we're doing this, or this is what's happened here. We've made mistakes in this, we've made mistakes in that. Because we keep getting it drummed in, is that these guys are Celtic fans. These are Celtic men. These are people who want to invest in this club.
They bleed for the club. They bleed for the club.
They bleed for the club, of course they do. As Brendan said, it must be true. You know what I mean? Listen, mate, it's horrible. It really, really is. And we need to have some transparency. If they come out tomorrow, which they won't, the week after, they come out at some point and say, listen, this is what's happened. If you can get some transparency, and if you can get somebody to come out and actually say what's happened, then we can put it to bed. We can have do you know what I mean? We could maybe deal with it a little bit better. But
Paddy, here's one.
You hear nothing.
Here's one I want to throw at you, because I'm saying somebody needs to be held accountable, right? Alan Robertson asking, well, Mr. Tisdale, the football doctor who apparently needed to write some prescriptions, and as I say, I cast it back to when he done that wee fan input about here's how we do business, this is our model, right? Nobody heard that. It was never published, it was never videoed, it was never put out in the public domain. You had to be there to know about it, and other people that do know about it only know by shorthand notes of those that were in that mindset to do that. Is he the easy target here? Is he the guy that will take the bullet for this? Because yes, we're sitting here and criticising, saying where are these players, right? But I refuse to believe that he hasn't at least been suggesting players or identifying players or something, right? Now, we will never know because there's no level of communication, there's no level of transparency, and unfortunately when it comes to transfer business and targets, the easy close off is I will not talk about targets. They are other people's property. They're other clubs' players. I get that, right? But is he the easy guy to take the hat?
Aye, of course he is, because let's face it, he's done he come in. When he was appointed to Celtic, you done the profile thing on him when we spoke about it. It was the guy who identified Ollie Watkins as a striker for Aston Villa, but Ollie Watkins played on the wing, and he come in and he went, no, he's not a winger. Listen, if you play this guy here, he does this, blah, blah, he's going to become incredible. And listen, it worked out for Ollie Watkins, he became a fantastic striker. And I was quite excited by the appointment. I was like, right, excellent, he's going to come in and he's going to basically go into our squad, he's going to be looking at certain players. I even thought that this season...
Never trust a guy in a trilby in a crushed velvet suit, mate.
Well, that's it. Maybe that's a wee learning curve for me. And listen, I was excited about it. Even this season when we signed Nigrin, I thought maybe that's one that the doctor can work with. They can bring him in and adapt him into what we need. But we don't seem to be seeing that. This guy should be working with the youth and developing them and pushing them on and doing things like that. But again, it's null and void. Do you know what I mean? And Willie sent me the thing there. It came across Sky Sports that Tuneki has signed the 5-year deal. So listen, that's one thing to get across there. At least we've got one across the line.
Mate, how much have we fallen?
It's brutal, isn't it?
How much have we fallen? And again, I want to come back to it. And I know you hate it. You don't like me saying it. Rangers. Now, I know they're a basket case, right? But, and it's a big but, it might just click. Now, see whether they stick with Martin or they don't stick with Martin. There's no doubt in my mind that they have bought sufficient players that on paper at least or of an okay standard. I don't believe that they're all garbage. That's just nonsense, right? That would be foolish to think that they could all be shite. If one of two things will happen. Martin will either learn like he did against Celtic and say, sometimes you just tear up my principles, throw them out the window and try to win no matter what. Personally, I think he'll revert to type, right? That'll not be sustained. But if they pull the plug on him at some point and they get in somebody that's halfway competent, that can galvanise that side and pull them through, they've at least got the foundations of decent strength and depth.
Yeah.
Celtic and Brendan Rodgers, quite frankly, need to do something that we have never done, and that is reinvent the footballing wheel at Celtic. Now more than never, Brendan Rodgers needs to tear up his principles, his wee possession-based football shite, chuck it out the window, go full Neil Lennon and change the formation, and try to use to the best of the capabilities what we have in that squad.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't do it, he will fall on his sword.
Aye. Listen, I think Brendan Rodgers has got what it takes. He's a big time manager. He is one of the top managers in the world, and I really do think that he will stay there, and I think that he'll do the best that he can. I really, really do. But when we spoke about signings before, Steve, remember we done this like for like thing about taking a player off and bringing on another player like for like, whatever. Yeah, they got Cornelius, I know. This like for like thing, we had said we're nowhere near that at this moment in time. You can look at every single position in our squad and say that we do not have like for like on the bench, and that's a shit state to be in, because then you look across the city and they've got quite a deep bench, quite a hefty backdrop there as well. I mean, they brought on Ant-Man against us as well, and things like that. They're bringing guys like that off the bench. We're sitting there with Balakwisha, we're taking him off, and we're bringing on guys like James Forrest, who, no offence to James Forrest, that's an absolute fantastic ambassador for the club, and we love him to bits, but you shouldn't be having to rely on guys like that to come on and change the game. It's a shit state to be in, mate, and we really, really, really need to get this sorted. If we are still top of the league by January, then I'll be very, very surprised. And if we aren't, then I would really expect to see some signings brought in the transfer window then.
Exactly, Paddy. The transfer window.
Get my head. A fucking disgrace.
There you go. That's it. Couldn't have said it better myself. There's a lot of chat coming in. We've spoke about whose head needs to roll, whose job needs to go, and there's a lot of people saying, and again, it's not going to ever happen. It's tongue in cheek. It is what it is. People saying, "Oh, pining for the days of Don Mackay." Now, I've been very, very positive about Don Mackay, and one of our regular viewers, Brown Warrior on the YouTube, great to hear it. He doesn't believe some of that. He thinks that anybody that believes that, and I'm just saying it again, we're not here to say I'm right, you're wrong, and vice versa. But he believes that if you think that Don Mackay was the winds of change that were coming in, and you're quite frankly deluded. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I completely couldn't disagree with you anymore, mate. I think you're deluded if you think that Don Mackay wasn't the winds of change. And the problem Don Mackay went was because he was doing what a CEO should do. He was looking through the board, asking questions, asking how long have you been here, what's your track record, wanting to ruffle feathers, wanting to change it, and somebody just went, by the way, tap the shoulder. That's not how we do things around here. And when people started to worry that they might just get phased out, the boys' club all converged and it was easy to go. You don't go from being the head of Scottish rugby to Celtic to then getting bulleted or signed off or paid off to then going to the head of European rugby and then being the head of the Scottish events campus. Just doesn't happen if you're shite. Now, what he didn't have was he didn't have football acumen, but that was a failing on the board as well. He had all the tools to be a great success. He had the right idea, he had vision, he was opening up dialect, and he says, this will be a cornerstone of my regime, inviting people in, transparency and talking, right? What he needed was somebody alongside him, a director of football, whether that was a Maloney or a Strachan or somebody random for any other club that are doing well. He needed somebody to show him about the business of football and how to negotiate deals and learn for it. But as a CEO and with a sports background, he had all the tools. But no, the lawyer was better, Paddy. I just want to coast over that, but I just thought I'd bring that in there. But yeah, Paddy, let's get right back down to the bones here.
I know. Listen, I'm looking at some of the comments in the chat there as well. And listen, I said Brendan Rodgers is a world-class manager, one of the best, and I stand by that. He's probably the best option that we've had as a manager. You think back to when we first got him, the seasons that we had, the invincible season, the quadruple treble, things like that. Yes, he left and he went down to Leicester to try and do something down there. Won them an FA Cup. He then went on to come back here, and we've done, again, absolute dominance. After Ange, we were begging for Brendan to come back, or somebody of that calibre. So people to be in the chat saying stuff about Brendan Rodgers and not being an elite manager, listen, he's up there, trust me.
Paddy,
and if you don't believe that, then...
I want to be trip down memory lane. Now, I'm going to come back to the Brendan Rodgers after I do this, because I'll be honest, I do have kickback on that for you, Paddy. But let's take a wee trip down memory lane, right? Let's get some top quality quotes out here, right? Now, this is one of the best ones. Check this out. This is from 20 Minute Tim's. The board recognises the inherent inefficiencies of holding excess cash and, in conjunction with other cash commitments, the importance of investing and strengthening the team to deliver football success. The board shares the frustrations of the supporters regarding the less than anticipated activity in the recent transfer window. February 2024, right? Here's another one. Brendan Rodgers. Bottom, boys, all you need to see there. There's only so many ways that I can dress up that we don't have the players. Saying that we need to improve, saying that we need them. Then there's your captain. Everyone has been quite vocal about what we need. We need help, we need the players, we need to have a strong squad if we want to compete in all fronts. That doesn't change after tonight. This is, of course, the Kyrat. The players still need help, and we need bodies in the door. It sounded like everybody was saying the same thing, including the board. They were disappointed, Paddy. They realised that it was made no sense to save money and no spend. Actions speak louder than words.
Yeah. And that's it. Listen, we're told constantly that the board are behind us, that they're backing us. Peter Lawwell, we've seen his interview at the start of the podcast, Evo. They'll invest everything. They'll put everything.
Do you want me to play it again, Paddy? Do you want me to roll it now?
Let the fans see it.
Right, we're now up to, I hate saying this, but we're up to 412. I love it. Thank you very much. If you're on the YouTube, if you're on X, wherever you're watching, hit the subscribe, cost you nothing, support the channel. We love it. Thanks for getting involved. I'm sorry if you've seen this before, but I think this is imperative to set the standard of where we are. This is going all the way back many years, 11 years ago, and it is the bronze Adonis, Peter Wall, talking about the board's commitment to our football club.
You'll be well aware there's been a lot of criticism of yourself, of the board, generally of the club since the Champions League exit. One of the main criticisms is a lack of investment in the squad. Is that a fair one?
It's not. I mean, I think the first thing I would say is that we're all sharing the pain. You know, it was a very painful night, the real disappointment, and but we have to move on. You know, I think we as the club have got to keep the head and be calm and move on. There has been a lot of criticism. I think most of it is not fair, and it's pretty unreasonable. And I think there's maybe a lack of understanding at the moment around in terms of you know, Scottish football in general and where it is in Celtic as a club. And our commitment as a board has been that every penny that comes into the club will be reinvested back in the club. And I don't think we can be clearer. That is a fact. That is what we will do, and that is our commitment. So I don't think you can commit more than everything, or give more than everything, and that will continue to happen.
Paddy, it's unreasonable. Let us know in the comments. 2011. There you go. There's the man that was then the CEO in charge.
You can't give more than everything.
Telling you that you're wrong. And that they understand.
Yeah.
And then again, I bring it back to it. The best one, 2020. Dermot Desmond. I believe that in 2025 we'll have a better team than the teams of Neil Strachan, Brendan Rodgers the first time, Neil Lennon.
Yeah.
And he also believed, by the way, that European football and performances in it is the benchmark for Celtic success and growth on a sporting front.
Aye. It's pathetic. We've stood by, we've watched this, we've drunk in all of this pish, for a long time. We really have. We've never really been board supporters per se, but we've given them a chance and we've stood by and we've took the dregs for their table for far too long, in my opinion. Like you said, something has to happen. Somebody has to be a fall guy. Peter Lawwell's out there saying that 11 years ago, and there's not one bit of truth in it. There wasn't then, and there still isn't now. And it just shows that there's not really been any change. Like we were talking about the Kaira game and stuff as well, remember? And I went back to the Shakhtar Karagandhi game, and it was all the same kind of things. Like, we need to bring in this, we need to do that. We've got this problem, with that problem, and it's the same recurring problems every single year. And I say that's the definition of insanity: doing the same thing over and over again, and always getting the same result. Sorry, it's pathetic, mate, and it needs to change. We really do need to get something changing here. And I don't believe that that's a manager. I think obviously he has to stay and play with what we've got.
Welcome Ian Roy, joined as a member there on the YouTube. Thank you very much. We appreciate the support. Now, Paddy, I've been playing a lot of videos and stuff like that, and I want to play something else. It's quite a long video. It's about 3 minutes, right? I know it's going to be a bit out there, but I saw this tonight and I endorse every single thing that's in it. I completely believe it, and it's relevant because we're talking about Brendan Rodgers. I might cut it off early, but I want you to get the gist of it, okay? Let us know. I'll bring up some of the comments as and when this comes around. You might have seen this, you might not. This is from the Huddle Breakdown. They do some great stuff. They do a lot of stuff around about facts and figures and sort of data-based football analysis, right? But they make some very valid points around about what the fallout of this transfer window will be, what it means for Brendan Rodgers, and so on. I'll cut it off at some point, but listen in and let me know what you think of this in the comments.
If I was Brendan Rodgers, what I would like to see happen now, midnight tonight, I would like to see Brendan Rodgers resign. I think he should resign. I don't want to see him sacked. He should resign. He should say, stick the any non-disclosure agreement up your arse. He should come out, and if he wants to keep his legacy with the fans, he should tell us exactly what's been happening over the last year behind the scenes at Celtic as regards the football operations of the club. And I think if he did that and he walked away, I for one would say, well, fair dues, because actually I think it would be the best thing for Celtic as well. He's gone stale. The tactics are stale. He's got no new ideas. We're struggling badly in the same way, time after time after time in key games. The team's been found out in terms of how you set up to play Celtic to negate the way that Rodgers has played, and he shows no inclination to want to change it. So his time's gone. His time's run. Do we really want to see another 6-9 months of this? I seriously think we're going to be in 2021 territory, other than the fact we don't have a a turbocharged opponent helped in so many different ways to kind of, unless Hearts get rid of Derek McInnes, of course, and bring in somebody competent, then that might happen. They could win the league by 30 points this season. That's the only thing that's going to save Celtic this season is the kind of incompetence at other clubs at the moment. But I think Brendan Rodgers should resign. I think he should leave. I think it would be the best thing for all of us. I would sort of maintain a high degree of respect for him if he did that, and I think it would be the best thing for the club. And then you bring in somebody who's had no hand or part in anything that's gone on in the last 9 months, 12 months, who can at least inject the players, everybody with a fresh start. Everybody starts from the same bench, the same position, and at least start to inject some enthusiasm and energy into the team. And just bring a different approach to the way that we're playing. I don't see any other way of saving the season.
I just want to cut that there. That's Alan Morrison, the Huddle Break, and the great content you guys put out. Check them out if you haven't already. Paddy, I want to put that to you because I think the man talks a lot of sense there. Now, it's unfashionable. Do we want our manager, as you've said, as you've sang praises, that you believe is still an elite manager, the best manager there? I ain't going to lie, I've been out and I've been quite critical over the past few games. I think that he is, as Alan Morrison says, a guy who's completely void of ideas, incapable of change at a time when we are going stale. We've done the episode stale on and off the pitch. We know upstairs is the big problem. But are you trying to tell me that side, regardless of its deficiencies that we've got, can't get the job done? against Rangers that couldn't have got the job done against Kyra Almaty. That's a problem with the manager, the backroom staff, and the way we are set up. Rangers couldn't beat Motherwell, St Mirren, and Dundee. Celtic could barely lay a glove on them. I agree. I think after this, Brendan Rodgers, there needs to be a whistleblower. There needs to be someone who blows the lid on what's really going on behind the scenes. And let's face it, he's never going to be coming back to Celtic should he leave right away. Thank you very much for the donation there. Yes, exactly. We're going to be gutted as fans many times. It's like a Groundhog Day repeating dream. Thanks for your support. But Paddy, the point I'm trying to make is he's not coming back to Celtic for a third tenure. It's just not happening, right? Yeah. This is it. And he either sticks about, rolls over, has his belly tickled and is a lapdog, and goes at the end of the season with who knows what the outcome could be, or he goes in his own terms. If he's genuinely unhappy, if he feels that he's been sold a daft, taking the piss out and made to look a fool, I think that as much as people call him a rat and everything else because of the first time, if he just left and said nothing, yes, you'll get that. But if he came out and told it like it was and blew the lid right off of what goes on at Celtic, people would appreciate it, people would support him, people would get behind it. Because he doesn't need to keep Wall, he doesn't need to keep Desmond, anybody sweet. He can literally give him the big fat middle finger and he'll still go elsewhere and he'll still get a job. What's your thoughts, Paddy?
I understand and I kind of agree with it. I think that Brendan, if he does leave like that, then I do think he would have a lot of support. I think the fans would understand the movement and why he would be doing it. But only if he came out and told us the truth of what was actually happening. The last time when he left, obviously went down to get the job at Leicester, but we don't know what was going on behind the scenes. We don't know if it was all up shit creek again and he was again begging for transfers and whatever else, or the way things were run. And I think he would have been given false promises when he come back. Or I don't think he would have come back because, let's face it, he could have took a job anywhere else as well. There would have been offers there for him. But I think if he goes, like you say, tomorrow, we wake up tomorrow morning and says Brendan Rodgers leaves Celtic, then you couldn't blame him, and I think everybody would know why he had done it. Mm-hmm. But I don't think he would do that. I don't think he's the type of person that would walk away. You've seen all his interviews and he kind of laughed and joked when there were people talking about sack the board movement, and he said it normally ends up with a sacking of the manager. So I think he would then hold on and not hope to get sacked, but do you know what I mean? He would hold on and perceive that role. Yeah. I think that he would see the season out. He said he would be here for 3 years, and I think he'll see the season out. Now, the fans get on his back then, and like you say, is he then seen as a lapdog for seeing out that 3 years? If we don't go on and win the league or the cups or whatever, if we go on and have a Snyder in Europe, is that he then seen as being just a bored lapdog and not doing what the fans want? Do the fans basically want him just to walk? What's the deal? What's your opinion on it?
I mean, I agree with the comments that are coming in here. Brendan Rodgers, I think, is only still at Celtic at this moment in time because of his comments the first time he came in the door. He created a rod for his own back, so to speak, when he says, I will be here for 3 years minimum, and the only way I'll leave is I'm sacked, right? Because he knew he had to say that, he had to build a rapport with the fan base, he had to try and win over some folk. But what he's inadvertently done is give the board total control. He's just went like that and relinquished control and handed it over to them. Because at the back of their head, they're going,
I can't hit your signals when they're against you.
We can do what we want. We can push you around. We can tell you what's going to happen and you're going to take it because you've told the people that hated you that you're going to be there for 3 years. I think it's multifaceted, the idea of him leaving. We run the risk of who do you end up with? Will you end up with Sean Maloney that's already in there? You end up with a Kennedy, or you end up with the complete and utter embarrassment and apologist that was Neil Lennon. I'm a big Neil Lennon fan as a player, right? big Neil Lennon fan of what he'd done for us as a manager, but quite frankly, at that Celtic Rangers game, when he had the argument back and forward with Chris Sutton, it was embarrassing. It was club apologist stuff. Now, you've got guys, ex-players, you've got Sutton, you've got the likes of Petrov, so on and so forth, coming out, calling out this board, telling them like it is, and you've got Neil Lennon defending them. That's a guy that's fluffing the nest, that knows that he's on quick dial, right? We don't need folk like that. And that's the reality. I think that, yes, Celtic don't have the capacity to go out, and I don't know who's out there and who's available. But Celtic
I've seen people saying something about Nuno Espirito Santo.
Seen Nuno Espirito Santo, fantastic manager, right? I think he'd be a great manager. Now, I'm not going to say it, but they would never do it because it would be daftness anyway. But even a Jose Mourinho that's about to be sacked, or a Eric Ten Hag that's been sacked, right? There's loads of potentially decent managers out there. But all these managers are ambitious. That's the one thing that they've got. They are ambitious. And if you can't support Brendan Rodgers, who quite frankly is ambitious but within reason, he is a manager who is basically a plaything for the board. He's a yes man, whether we like it or not. He's purporting to not be a yes man, but he is. Right? He's come back to try and build bridges, say sorry, and the board know that, right? He's ambitious within reason, but he knows the remit, and he's conditionable. That's what happens with Brendan Rodgers. Espirito Santo, etc., etc. They are guys who are ambitious and they are kicking on. You see how fiery he's been with their owner at Forest. Can you imagine what he'd be like at Celtic? Guys like that don't wash with the Celtic board.
Yeah. Anybody that's outspoken isn't going to get a job at Celtic. That's for sure. Obviously, when Brendan first came in, and I seen 420 put in the comment in the chat there, I'll see you all back here in May. That kind of arrogance thing. I think that he still has that. I think that he's arrogant enough to see the season out to have that in him. But yeah, listen, regardless of what happens, now it's just for we need to get a bit of change in this board. We need to make our voices heard. More than what it is, more than what it has been. We need to sting them somehow. We need to get something done here, whether that's at an AGM or whether it's boycotting something or doing something.
Paddy, I don't want to keep you, and I don't want to keep the near 500 strong too late. We could pick over the bones of this, but yes, I'll say it and I'll come away with it right now. Now's the time, Celtic fans. Direct, non-aggressive, above-board action is needed. Now, I was quite frankly disheartened with some of the comments that I've seen on social media, and some from, dare I say it, I'm not going to name it, but quite prominent voices within the Celtic fan media. Now, I'm not saying that Celtic World Order, Steve-O, Paddy, anybody, or any other podcast or any other person that's a Celtic account speak for the mass majority of the fan base. But I've seen a lot of discontent and a lot of, we need to do something about it. Yeah. And I've seen so many replies such as, but what can we actually do? Yeah. Right? Now that's the kind of defeatist attitude that the board lap up. That's exactly what they want. Now, can quick change be happening? No, it can't. Is it the same as back in the 90s when every penny was a prisoner and we had to starve the board financially because we knew it would result in an effect, whether it would be in a crisis? No, we're not in it. It's different. It's changed times. But there's very, very simple things, and you might laugh at it, but anything and any effort is better than no. Let's just start with fan groups coming out for what it's worth, making their statements. As we've seen, turning up on non-match days, because the board have got the luxury of the international break and then we're not at home for a good couple of weeks. Can you imagine with a game Wednesday or a game Saturday or Sunday? Wow, mental, right? They're home, it all goes away and it summers away and it disappears. We've seen before fan groups turning up with banners and making their voice heard, right? Again, see if that's going to happen. Make sure that we don't disgrace ourselves, that it's above board, it's within the legal limits of what you can do. You're not causing trouble, you're not making a front of yourself, you're not getting trouble with the law, right? There's ways to do it. UEFA Europa League, tell them to stick it right up their arse. Now I know, and this is the unfortunate situation, their package for the game. If you don't buy it as a season ticket holder, then what they will do is they'll sell your seat for a single price ticket for more than it would have cost for the package combined, right? So they will still probably make money. However, there is no guarantees. But if at least you are seen to be boycotting it, that's fine. People have spoken about walk-ins. We can't do it. Why? Because we don't have enough room in the concourse, and they've already started sectioning off parts of it, right? Do what we've seen historically in other countries and other leagues. The game kicks off, turn your back in the game, 5-10 minutes. Don't chant, don't sing, turn your back in the game. Don't spend a penny as soon as you get yourself in that stadium. Paradise Winfield, stick up your arse. Beverages, food, stick up your arse.
Yeah.
The merchandise, the tops, everything else, don't buy it direct for the club, because apparently every penny goes back into the club and reinvest in the team. Absolute nonsense. Buy it for a third-party vendor. JD Sports or whatever it may well be. Now, I know that they've got a deal with them, but the cut of the pie that they'll get will be significantly reduced than it will if it's direct to the club. And all these wee things over time will just add up a wee tiny bit. Not enough that it's going to drive massive change, but enough to show something of a message. And then, of course, there's the big one. We need to try and somehow unionise or combine smaller holdings of fan shareholding to get a significant portion enough where you can push and try and get a voice on the board. Of course, then that brings in the problem of who would be nominated, who would be trusted to be that voice. But we cross that bridge when you get to it. That's the only way that we can really, truly affect change at this club, mate.
Yeah, listen, I understand that, and I understand people saying boycott European games and whatever else, but if you don't buy the tickets, somebody else will. You're not going to get 60,000 Celtic fans boycotting a game. There's always another 60,000 out there that will go buy the tickets. I understand what you're saying as well about not buying any of the grub in the stadium. I can't remember who it was we spoke to, Steve, when they'd said, it might even have been Paul John Dykes when we met him, saying about the conversation with Peter Lawwell, and he could tell them exactly how many pies were sold and how many drinks were sold at each part of the stadium and stuff, and how much income that made. And it's like that was basically, that shouldn't be happening for a man in his position. He shouldn't have to know all of these things, but he does, and that just shows you how much money orientated he is. So if you to do something like that, then yes, that would be a bit of a sting. Other things as well, obviously not buying the kits and things like that. There are other places to buy the kits.
Well, Paddy, jump in that. I know it's hard, with the wee man, right? The vegan turns around and says, I want a kit, right? You're not going to deprive your child or whoever it is to go, your dad's on a protest against the club, I'm not buying it, right? But as I say, there's other ways of going and getting it. Now, I know that because of sponsorship deals and, merchandising deals, that they'll still get a portion. But if you go and buy that kit for JD Sports, for talking's sake, Celtic will get a significantly reduced portion of that versus buying it for the club. Go to Adidas website, buy it for there.
Yeah.
It's small things, but it's enough to show a pattern of behaviour for the fan base where, believe it or not, over time, accumulatively, they'll look at it and go, returns are down on X, Y, and Z, returns are down on match day revenue, we're not selling a lot, beverage and food's down, what's going on here? Celtic shops normally doing X thousand a month, it's down to this. They will start to notice it and they will start to wonder. But then also when we get to the AGM, I don't know the setup of the AGM, but to get in there and ask the hard questions, as it says, we need to make our voice heard. We need to do it respectively and we need to do it reasonably and legally. Don't do anything that's going to give us an affront or going to get people in bother or create a scene. But you need to stand about and do something. Platforms like this, people that are on social media, every time they tweet out something, a negative reply to it, doesn't need, not outrageous, not cheeky, not offensive, but just, like whatever you want to say, show them your discontent. Happy birthday such and such, what happened to signing players? You don't care, something like that. See if that happens enough times, puts a message out there.
Yeah, I agree, and I agree with you as well, saying about the platforms going out there and being together I think we do have that. Obviously, everyone that we've spoke to across all the platforms are in the same boat. We spoke about Axel earlier as well, Stephen. We had the conversation with them about the board and things like that and what was going on, and they're in total agreement with us. They feel that change is needed, and we had the same conversations about boycotting the food and boycotting tops and not going into games and things like that. But like I said, they've already sold the season book, so if you don't turn up to the game, they've already got your money. So they've got you over a barrel when it comes to stuff like that. Obviously, the home ticket scheme and the Europa League ticket scheme and stuff, that would hit them if you didn't buy the full packages and stuff like that. But then again, somebody else will go out and buy it, and it's a frustrating thing if you're trying to make a point. I like the one as well where you're saying about turning your back on the game and things like that. I boycotted Disco Lights with some masses, perfect. They would understand the empty seats, and I think that would be a right kick in the teeth if people didn't turn up to the games. But there is always going to be people looking for the tickets.
Mate, there will always be people, and that is the hard thing that we've got. I believe that there's something like a 7-year waiting list for a season ticket. There's always going to be people. There's always going to be people that will travel over that want to see a game. That's the nature of the beast. But if the core people that they depend on, the season ticket holders, there's another one. Remove yourself from the home cup ticket scheme. Get that square in the bin, because whether you can go or not, you're getting charged 25 quid for Falkirk, and then you've got to try and sell that ticket to somebody else or no attend. Get that square in the bin. There is methods and ways to do it. It's not going to be an overnight thing. It's definitely not going to suddenly make the waves that we need, and that's it.
But then, if you're boycotting the ticket scheme, and by some stretch of the imagination we manage to reach one of the semi-finals or a final, then if you haven't bought any tickets all the way up, then you're not eligible for it.
Well, I get that, Paddy, but then that's a risk that you take, isn't it? And again, I'll bring this up because I don't want to keep her all night, but, for example, Brown Warriors saying, Steve, it's a numbers game, how many fans worldwide? I get what he's saying, there's always going to be somebody to fill your seat. But what I will say is it better to try something than do nothing? Now, this is what I'm sick and tired to the back teeth of hearing, is this defeative sort of approach of, well, there's nothing we can do anyway. See, if you don't try, if you don't at least try to take a stance and make an effort, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You might as well just roll over, continue to buy everything that they release for the shop, buy all your tickets, happy clap away, be satisfied with this transfer window and stop moaning about it. You might as well shut up, Paddy. I'll shut up. Everybody in the comments will shut up. Because there's no point, is there? What does it matter? What we complain for?
I get it, and
this is the point.
Exactly, I get it, and I see what Michael's saying there. It's called sacrifice, and I understand the sacrifice, Michael, but it's a sacrifice that not every single member in the fan base is willing to make, and that's the frustrating part of it. If everyone
right there,
yeah,
damned if you do, you damned if you don't. But wouldn't it be nice to at least do something?
Absolutely spot on. We need to do something, but it's coming round to that. But what do we do? What do we do? The fan base, we're all in the agreement that we need to do something. That the board need to understand that this is not acceptable. That was not an acceptable transfer window for the state that our club is in. We do not have a team going forward that I'm quite happy to say, yes, we will quite easily win that league. Yes, we will do a treble this year, or yes, we will have a European run. I don't look at that squad and be happy with it. Not at all.
Well, Paddy, here's one to close it up and finish. I believe that we are due to release our accounts within the next week. That's going to make fun reading, isn't it?
Aye.
Now, what I will say is have you noticed anything since the result against Kairat? Have you noticed anything peculiar, out of character, of the Celtic output that they've been sending you? I'm talking about the tweets, I'm talking about the emails. It's all been very businesslike. There's been no sugarcoating, it's been factual. Such and such a fixture's been moved to this date. Boom, that's it. Blah, 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 right? There's been none of this crap that they normally do. Go and buy the new top. Europa League packages out. None of it, right? Now again, just for benefit to mention it, see tonight, if you looked at Rangers Twitter, official Twitter, interspersed with all the signings they're telling you they're about doing it, they're already showing you how you can secure your Europa League stadium seat the layout, the costing, the pricing, the tiering. Why? Because they know that their fans are piss raging at the fact that they get papped at the Champions League.
Yeah.
But they also know on the flip side of it, they went and spent a shit ton of money. So they get them back in by being positive. Can you imagine if Celtic put out something about the package and how to secure your seat? Be interesting to see when that one comes out, and it'll be interesting to see how they slide the accounts out. Maybe it'll be when we go and get one or two guys that are free agents and on loan, and then at the back door at 10:30 at night, doof, there's the accounts.
Yeah, it's like you say, Steve. It's going to be fun reading, telling them how much money we have, and we've got. This is incredible, isn't it? And being all happy and delighted that we're one of the richest clubs about, and we're ran fantastically well. Listen, it's frustrating. It's not going to be solved tonight. It's not going to be solved tomorrow. But we'll get there. We will see what's happening. No doubt there will be other things creeped out on the news. Hopefully, some other signings brought in. Hopefully, some news to chew into some of these free agents that we were talking about. Steve will getting signed in. But listen, I know it's tough. I know it's been a hard transfer window. But let's.
Do you know the only positive, Paddy, that I can take out of this? The only positive that I can take out of this? O failed his medical, so they didn't get a windfall for that. Good. There you go. That's the only positive I've got. They didn't get any more free money. So anyway, listen, Paddy, I know that I've kept you well beyond your bedtime. And I thank every single person. There we go. There's the boy nose there. Good show. Well, thank you. I hope you did enjoy it.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I must admit, boy nose, it makes a change, doesn't it? Because normally it's your good selves that are up in arms about things. But what I will say is, and I've been negative throughout the course of this, and rightfully so, nothing is won and lost at this moment in time. As I said, Rangers have bought in a lot of players. There's no guarantees that they guys are going to be good, and there's certainly no guarantees that that manager is going to change his approach to things. He might have done it against us the other day there, but he will revert to type, and they will still have the same deficiencies. Celtic now have the international break, the backdrop is crap, the transfer window's garbage, but every single person in that building at Lennoxtown need to take stock. They are here until January minimum, and it's up to them to pick themselves up, be invested, be all in at this club, put in the performances, whether it's Europe or domestically, and then we will revisit this farce in January. I just hope that when the time comes that Celtic are still on top, that we are leading in the league, or if not, at least it's tight and we're close, and that the manager is still at least around, because as much as I've said I wouldn't be surprised if he walks, and to a relevant extent endorse that, I worry and shudder to think what would happen and what we could have if he did go.
Yeah, listen, it's been a hard one, it's been a hard night, but we go on for here. We take this one on the chin, and we wait and see what happens tomorrow, and hopefully we can figure something out amongst the fan base and do something that's going to hurt the board in their pocket and make them get the finger out in January, because come then, I just hope we're within touching distance.
So just to clarify for Sobo here, the rest of I'm going to a funeral because we just saw the death of Celtic's transfer window. I thought it would be apt. Yellow ties, that's too cliche. This was a funeral the night. Dramatic, yes. Factual, yes. Celtic failed us all tonight and possibly just buried our chances between now and January. Maybe not from a domestic front, but I definitely think so from a European front.
I can see at the end of the day as well, see when you're talking about them buying all these players and stuff like that, and you're saying that they might not be perfect and hit the ground running and stuff. At the end of the day, you can always put glitter on a jobby, but it's still going to be a jobby, and that's that. You know what I mean?
Exactly. There we go. So anyway, listen, thank you to every single person that's been watching us. Over 500 at its peak. We're still 400 plus strong at this moment in time. it's 5 minutes past 12. It's not the result that we want. It's disappointing. We've covered a lot of ground. It will be interesting to see the fallout from this, from club level, when we hear someone, when we hear the manager speak, because let's face it, he is the voice of all of Celtic at the moment. And maybe we might just get some of those free agents coming in. I'm not excited by it, but at this moment in time, that is the only market that Celtic can go into, and hopefully we get something out of it. What I would say is if something doesn't happen, stay tuned. I don't want it to happen, but there's a Celtic production that could be coming, self-penned, and it's that.
Yeah.
So there you go. They've brought on themselves, written by Peter Law, directed by Michael Nicholson, directed by Dermot Desmond. They've once again failed us, and hopefully we can kick on. But anyway, till the next time, take care of yourselves, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for your support. Thank you for sticking with us with this post-mortem, if you will, of the summer transfer window. Until the next time, you tell them, Paddy, send us home, son.
Take care of yourselves and hail, hail.
See you all later. Bye-bye.